Welcome back, Hunters. Sky Sensei here with another video. The new patch has dropped, and with it, the new kimono is here. Murakumo is a magnificent beast. You almost feel pretty bad for hunting it because of how beautiful she looks. But of course, we must do what we do best for the village. So in this overview, we'll go over the main attacks, the new spinning top Karakuri, and then we'll look at the weapons and armors of Murakumo. This hunt is pretty unique compared to most monsters in the game, which is really nice to see. We don't always want variations. Murakumo utilizes the power of the sakura flower to create range attacks while using the entangle ailment to create tree bark below your feet. So it's a good variety to be aware of. So starting off here, let's start with the attacks. One of the most common ones is that she just likes to dig herself underground, just like goes underground, and then pop up beneath you. A lot of times if she's just standing on top of her flower petal platform, she'll usually end her attacks by diving down back underground and trying to pop up beneath you. It's not a very hard attack to dodge, you really just need to watch the ground. There will be some rubble that appears before she erupts, so just roll when you see that. Another common attack is right here as she does a backflip and sends 3 discs towards you. Now whether that hits you or not, she will always follow up with a pounce attack towards you that when she lands on the ground, branches will appear from the ground. These branches always erupt right in front of her, so if you're in that area, back up if you can or just roll when she lands on the ground. Now there are other forms of this final attack. Sometimes she'll pounce left and right on sakura petals. If you see this, just wait for the final pounce, and then when she lands on the ground, again the branches will appear and you just need to roll as she lands on the ground. Sometimes if she gets up on her hind legs and raises her hands into the air, she'll land back down, and as she lands, the branches again will appear from the ground. There's one more attack where she does a backflip as well, but instead of a 3 horizontal disc, she throws out 1 vertical disc, and that can have different follow-ups. There's various follow-ups to that, so just be aware of that. Other notable attacks include the double flower spins where she sends out discs twice in front of her. So even if you get hit or dodge the first one, it's kind of like in a circle. You just gotta be ready that the second wave will come around. One of the more quick attacks is the ground disc where she stands on her flower petal platform and shoots ground discs beneath her towards you. Now there are 3 waves. The first 2 have 5 discs that's propelled towards you. The last one has 8, so it covers a wider range. Now just be aware that these do home in on you, so just between waves she will readjust her aim. The good news is that these are really easy to dodge. As you come close to you, just dodge roll them. They're very easy. The iframes are very generous. You can also get behind an object and you'll be completely fine. After 3 waves do keep in mind that she does 1 final attack. There's multiple attacks that she can do from this, including diving back into the ground just like we talked about before. She can also pounce sideways and try to attack you from the side. And also once she's enraged, she can do lightning strikes on your position. Whichever final attack she does, whichever it is, doesn't matter, you will always have space to attack after it. One of her more devastating range attacks includes the sakura balls. She'll gather a bunch of petals around her and then spheres will appear above her head and launch directly at you, followed by 1 final big one. Again, dodging these are fairly easy. As soon as they start shooting towards you, just dodge them, or you can just keep moving in one direction. The only thing you have to be aware of is that the last big one has a slight delay. So you don't want to just keep dodging immediately. You need to wait a moment, just a brief moment before clicking that dodge button again, just so you don't get hit by that delay. When she's enraged, most of these attacks are pretty similar, but she tends to add lightning strikes around her attacks. So you'll have to watch the ground. You'll notice these as these pink spots that appear on the ground, and you've got about 2 seconds, not even, maybe a second and a half before the lightning strikes that position. One final attack here I want to mention is her ultimate. It's an extremely annoying move because it's so damn quick. You'll see her petals start to fly around her, and then really quickly a whole bunch of pink lightning spots will appear in a circle around her. That's the range of the attack, and your goal is to get out of the circle or perfectly dodge the roll of the attack. The main indicator to look out for when she does this attack is she's going to lift her head up into the sky. That's your indicator to look out for to roll. Now another way to interrupt this ultimate is using the spinning top Karakuri, the new Karakuri. So this is a good time to talk about it. It's pretty much a good distraction and flow breaker Karakuri. It staggers monsters and throws them off their pacing during a hunt. Now if she's already started her ult, it's not going to work. It's already too late for you to use this attack. But what's worked for me is actually using it a bit preemptively. If she's enraged and she hasn't used her ult in a while, I throw out the top. If I move to a new area and she immediately goes enraged, I throw out the top. It's actually a really goated Karakuri in my opinion. The ability to just stop and alt like that is actually kind of crazy, and it also like knocks them over a couple times. I've even had topples, like full topples, when the top just comes and like hits them in the face. Other Karakuri that's really good for her is the harpoon as well when she's on the pedals particularly. When she's on the pedals, that basically counts as her being in the air. So just like any bird monster, it throws her way off and they come crashing down and toppling over, giving you a big opening. Now lastly, the fire ailment is also huge against her. It's great damage, and if you can reach the fire threshold, it will like stun lock her into position for a few seconds, and that gives you a big opening and an extra opening that you usually wouldn't have if you're using a raw weapon. Okay, that's a brief overview of the hunt and the new spinning top. Let's talk about the weapons. Now her weapons definitely give the most raw damage that we've seen out of any of the weapons, but the skills aren't the most ideal. For all the weapons, her skills have a slight focus on Karakuri thread, so it will take away one of your damage inherited skills. For the inherent skills, the Wasaga blade is okay. It's got Heavenly Dance on it, which isn't really too worth if you're good at parrying. It also has Parasol Dance Fury, which again is meh if you're good at parrying. You won't drop from orange that often enough for the boost to be worth it. Claw Blade isn't very worth skills wise either, but the raw damage is good. Turbulence Fury though, while it gives 20% attack boost, which is the highest I've ever seen for this skill, that usually lasts about 10 seconds, and with the new changes to Claw Blade, this could be a little tougher to utilize since you can't just like power through for 10 seconds, because if you miss any of the attacks or if you get hit, you're going to lose a lot of energy really quickly with the new Claw Blade changes. The Karakuri staff though has a really neat skill, the Transformative Strike, which raises your starting mutation by 2 levels. I think that's pretty damn useful. That could actually be a really nice skill to have. The Maul, Nodachi, and the Karakuri blade all have the Sleight of Hand Fury skill, which is nice. A 20% boost to attack after conjuring a Karakuri meshes really well with the thread file and the new top skill. So it makes it really easy. You can combine all of those and get that boosted damage. 20% is the most that I've seen for this skill from any armor or other weapon. Now, I'm not an expert on any of these 3 weapons, so I don't know the exact meta. So maybe this is good, maybe this isn't. If you guys know, comment below. So overall for the raw blades, the skills aren't the greatest, but you can definitely make some nice builds out of it. The wind blades I think would be more useful for her skills, only of course against monsters that are really weak to wind. The entanglement ailment would also be really fun to use, you know. If monsters are weak to that, you can definitely get them 2 or 3 times locked by the entangler. Finally, we reach the armor wise, and I will say I'm not entirely impressed by these skills. Defense of course goes up, but skills wise, there's a heavy focus on you taking damage first. So it'd be useful to use this armor when you fight monsters that you know you aren't good at. Vengeance is a skill that grants you extra damage when you get hit. Resurrection lets you live 1 strike after your health hits 0. Fatal Foray again boosts attack only when you are suffering from an ailment, which means you actually have to get hit multiple times from multiple ailment attacks and finally get that like ailment like actually on you. Mortality Water on the helmet is really interesting. That's the most neat skill I've seen out of this. You have to be hurt and then you use healing water and then you get boosted attack, but you also take poison damage, which I guess you could then cycle in as like every time you need to heal up, get boosted attack, damage, you take poison damage, you heal up again, get boosted damage. So that's kind of a neat little cycle, which I think if you can dodge monsters pretty well, you can constantly keep getting this buff without risking too much. So the Revenge is really strong with this armor and very ideal when you're fighting monsters or new monsters or monsters that you're not an expert at. Also, Lunar Protection. Has anyone actually hunted at night? Is that a thing? I don't think I've had one hunt at night yet. Maybe one. Unless you have the feature to change night and day, and I've just never used it. Anyway, hunters, that's the overview of Murakumo. Beautiful monster to hunt. I really do like the hunt and monster design. Overall, the weapons and armor aren't entirely worth, but you can make some interesting builds out of them. I'll be sure to add some more builds to the channel if I find some fun combinations, so be sure to subscribe for more. I appreciate you guys watching, and I hope this helps you out. Until next time though, take care, stay safe, and keep hunting. Sky Sensei is out.